Hi everyone and welcome to lesson 5 of the Hardware the Next Level unit. What I want you to do is pause the video and have a look at the four thought bubbles on the screen and see if you can work out which ones are RAM and which ones are ROM, and we'll come back in a second and go over the answers. Okay, hopefully you've had a little bit of time to think about which ones you think are which. Let's start with this first one up here, deleted when the computer is turned off. The answer to that is of course RAM, and RAM is completely wiped when the computer is turned off, which is not good if you haven't saved your work. The second one across here stores all of your active programs you currently have open, is also RAM. So whatever you have open on your computer system is stored in RAM until the point where you save it to your hard disk drive or another external piece of storage. Down in the bottom left holds the bootstrap loader. Now the bootstrap loader, you might remember from last week, is the bit that points to your operating system and tells the computer to load up, and that is the thing that is stored in ROM. In fact, it's the only thing that's stored in ROM, but a very important part of your computer, and it wouldn't be able to run if this wasn't working correctly. And the last bubble has a larger storage capacity, and the answer to that is RAM. And the reason that RAM needs the largest storage capacity is because it's storing all of your active programs until the point when you save them. So it has to be very large. Whereas the bootstrap loader is the only thing stored in ROM, and it's just a pointer to where your operating system, like Windows 10, is stored in your in your backing storage. So you don't actually need very much capacity there. Okay. Today's focus is we're going to be talking about types of computer, and hopefully by the end of today's lesson you will know what different type of computer you might want to use for different scenarios, and you can point out different input and output devices that might be built into different types of computer systems. So what I want you to do is pause the video again and have a little think about any different types of computer you might know of, ones that you have maybe, or your brother and sisters, or in your family, or just ones that you know of but you don't actually have. So pause the video, have a think, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, hopefully you've had a little bit of time to think about what types of computers there are. Here are the ones that I came up with. Now there are more than this, but this is sort of the main ones. So we've got a desktop computer, laptop computer with also a netbook, which is a slightly smaller version of a laptop. You've got a tablet, like an iPad or something like that. A smartphone, which a lot of us have access to. We've got wearable technology like smartwatches, and then video games consoles. And those are the kind of main types of computer systems. You do get supercomputers, which are obviously very, very large versions of desktop computers, or multiple desktops working together. But at the moment, we don't want to worry too much about them. Okay, what I want to do is go through each of these different types of computer in turn and tell you what the advantages and disadvantages to them are and where you might use them. So let's start with the classic desktop computer. So a desktop computer is most likely to be found in a fixed position on a desk, hence its name desktop. It is an enclosed box. So this part here, if you can see it, that Acer part there, is actually the computer itself. So all of the components that we were talking about inside a PC last week are inside that actual box, but most of the time it tends to be purchased as a package. So you get the monitor, the keyboard and the mouse with it, so it actually completes a kind of a desktop all-in-one system that can actually be used, because the box itself wouldn't be very useful if you don't have any input and output devices to work with it. Now, why might you buy a desktop computer over different types of computer systems? Well, the reasons behind it is to do with the fact that it's usually used for larger projects and gaming. So if that's the case, you want to have a computer that has a powerful processor, perhaps dual processors or quad core processors working next to each other, might have a large memory capacity, good graphics card, for example, and usually the internet connection for it is very good. So if you're online gaming, it's a good computer to use because it tends to be wired into the wall because it's in a fixed position anyway. Okay, the next type of computers we've got are laptops and netbooks. Now, laptop and netbooks are slightly different, okay, because they are completely portable. The systems tend to be all in one. And nowadays you do get some laptop computers where you have the screen and the keyboard is detachable to try and make it kind of a tablet hybrid, but most of the time they're all built in. And the good thing about them is that they've got a built-in keyboard, which is really important. So they more tend to be used for tasks where you would want to be doing some typing. Okay, so you can see at the bottom there it says when you're likely to use it, when you're doing work on the move. So if you were a university student and you had traveling to do to university on the train, you would probably have a laptop so you could sit and do some work while you're traveling there. And a lot of people, like commuters in London who go to work, would maybe have netbooks or laptops that they would reply to emails and things while they're on the move, so they're making a productive use of their time. Okay, they're completely portable. They usually would sit on your lap, so even if you don't have a table, you can use them, and hence the name laptop comes from that. Okay, and they're a full computer system, and they've got lots of input and output devices built in. So webcams are usually built in, microphones are built in, keyboards, your touchpad, which you can use as your mouse, etc. Also, they don't take up very much space. So once they fold in half, you can pop them down the side of your couch or whatever, and they have a battery which you charge, so you don't need to have a charging device with you necessarily. Okay. That takes us to our next type of device, which is a tablet, similar to a laptop, but slightly smaller and different. The main thing about a tablet is it doesn't have this built-in keyboard. So the screen provides the main source of input and output device. It allows you to see what you're doing and also control everything on the screen. And quite often you get software version of keyboards that will pop up so you can type information. Now it is completely portable, it's really small, but its processor and memory sizes are a lot smaller than that of our laptop or desktop, usually, not always, but usually. Okay, and the storage, the hard drive inside it, or the kind of SDD drive that's inside it, is obviously usually a bit smaller as well, but they can sometimes be improved by the use of something like a memory card, which goes into a memory card slot on the side. Okay, um, a reason why you might use a tablet over something like a smartphone might be to do with the screen size. So sometimes, like your granny and granddads at home might like to play like apps or maybe just go on Facebook or chat to their friends, and you can do FaceTime and stuff, and you can have a slightly bigger screen without having to pull out a big laptop or a desktop computer. So a lot of people use it for things like that. Also, it works off apps or applications rather than full software packages that you might get on a laptop or a desktop. So you get like gaming apps, or you can browse the internet and communicate really easily on a tablet device. Okay, the next device they're going to look at is a smartphone. Now, smartphones are obviously really popular nowadays. Okay, they are highly portable because of the size of them. They fit inside your pocket. They're called a smartphone now rather than a mobile phone, and that's due to the amount of the capacity and the capabilities that they actually have nowadays. Okay, they have a full built-in computer system. They can usually store quite a lot of stuff. Nowadays the cameras on them are absolutely phenomenal. You can upgrade your storage with memory cards, but you can also use cloud systems. They have full Wi-Fi, 4G, even moving into 5G capabilities. Great for communication on the go. So if you were stuck in, at a train station and you wondered when the train was coming next and you couldn't find information on the wall, then usually your phone will allow you access to the internet to find out that information. Also, while you're killing time waiting on the train, you'll probably have some gaming apps that you can sit and play. Or if you're trying to find your way to the local train station on foot, then you could even use the satellite navigation Google Maps type thing to be able to work out where you are. So they have a lot of capabilities built into a smartphone, which makes them really popular nowadays. And the fact that you can fit them inside your pocket for the most part means that people will choose to buy them or spend money on them over a device that was much larger, especially for men, because a lot of the time they don't carry extra like bags and stuff that women are quite guilty of carrying about with them. Okay, up in the top right hand side here, we've got wearable tech. Now, wearable tech, I suppose the biggest type of that nowadays is really smartwatches. They're coming into their own. And I suppose they're even more portable than everything else, because even if you're just going out for a run, you don't have any pockets to put your phone, you could still have your smartwatch on you, okay? However, they do have a very limited capability when it comes to what they can actually do in their functionality. So a lot of the times they'll be used for things like heart rate monitors, counting steps, your GPS and things, because a lot of people will use them to track their exercise or to trace what it is they're doing. They can also be used for communication, depending on what ones you get. Sometimes they can be combined with a smartphone. So if you're in a house and your phone was in the house and your phone rings, some smartwatches will allow you to answer and speak to the phone through your watch. Others won't let you do that. It just depends on the style that you buy. And obviously, if you've got like a Huawei watch and a Huawei phone, or an Apple watch and an iPhone, they tend to get more functionality if you buy brands that match together. Okay. As I said before, the great thing about them is there's no pockets, and you can still do all that, a lot of communication stuff in there as well, depending. Some of them even allow you to, change the watch face, have photographs on there. The functionality really, really changes depending on what brand you go for. Okay, now the last type of computer console or computer type of computer we've got here is gaming consoles. Okay, now they come in all different shapes and sizes, so everything from a Nintendo DS, PS Vita, PSP, all the kind of portable ones, right the way through to your Xboxes and your PlayStations are be used there. Okay, now for the most part, your kind of traditional gaming console would be fixed in place under a TV. However, obviously a lot of them have that portability, and like your Switch and stuff that you can move from place to place. The reason they're usually located next to a television is when you buy a console similar to a desktop computer, it doesn't always come with a screen. So most of the time it's linked up to your television, and that's because you want a really good size of screen to get that full kind of gaming experience. Okay, now the computer system is dedicated to gaming for the most part. Usually if you do have an Xbox or a PlayStation or something, you can access the internet, maybe watch Netflix or stuff on it, but for the most part it's used for gaming. So the focus is on having a really powerful processor, a large amount of main memory, and high quality graphics cards, which usually have additional processing capabilities and memory capabilities actually built into them. Okay, now the reason why you might pick a games console over using something like a desktop computer for high quality gaming is that you know the games will run smoothly on them. Okay, so you know that when you buy a game it will run on your Xbox because it's been designed for that. Okay, the difficulty comes, I suppose, it's when Xbox or PlayStation or somebody brings out a new console, you have to upgrade to the new one to be able to play the new style games, whereas on a desktop computer you could maybe just upgrade certain components to play the next level of games. But a lot of the time, as soon as you buy a desktop computer, the new games that are coming out, you need to upgrade a lot. So it depends on what style of gaming you like and how dedicated you are to gaming as to what type of consoles and computers suit you best for video gaming. Okay. So I think that's all the different types of computer we've looked at. Let's have a little talk about what your task is actually to do for this week. So I have attached your regular task sheet, which is for everybody to do. On the left hand side, that's the two snippets of what you have to do. So there's a little table of scenarios and you have to predict what type of computer you would use. Now there can be more than one answer for different ones, so just put in which one you would likely use for each of the different tasks or which one you think would be the best. And if you want to, feel free to add in the why, but you don't have to. Okay, underneath that it's got a picture of a digital camera, high quality digital camera, because I suppose in itself nowadays it's almost like its inbuilt computer system. There's lots of input and output devices, even if you think of buttons and flashes and all that type of stuff that are on that. So what I want you to do is just to label it, just like you did with the inside the PC task a couple of weeks ago. Little text boxes around the outside and point to things that you can see. So input devices, buttons, the viewfinder, the screen, the part where it actually takes a photograph, the camera lens, so all those different bits. Is there a memory slot? Okay, so have a little think about it as a mini computer and point out the different bits you can do. If you want to do the practical task this week, what I would like you to do is find a picture like this of the mobile phone that you would like your parents to buy or Santa to get for you if you had all the money in the world. And I want you to take a picture of it or get a picture like that, and I want you to label it with all the different things that you can find out about it. So what is its processor size, what is its main memory size, what what is the camera like, is there a flash, is there more than one camera, what hard disk capabilities does it have, what buttons does it have, what do the buttons do, what is the screen size, any kind of special features about it, can you fold it in half? Okay, does it have a webcam? How is the webcam different from the regular camera? Does it have a microphone? Point to all the different bits you can see. And nowadays phones are really sleek, so a lot of the time you can hardly even see anything. In fact, it would be even better if you could maybe get a view where you could see the bottom, so you can talk about things like the headphone jacks and spaces like that, that you might find. Okay, and then that's your task for this week. Okay, so this is the unoptional task. So I want you to do the worksheet and hand it in and show my homework. And then the additional task is maybe just to get a PowerPoint slide with a picture of a phone that you would love if you could afford it, and then label all the different bits around the outside. Okay, last but not least, hopefully by the end of today's lesson, you will know what type of computer to use for different scenarios, and you can point out input and output devices on different types of computer, because you'll have had a little practice of doing that on the digital camera and then on the phone. Okay, happy hunting, happy shopping, and I will speak to you next week. See you later, guys. Bye.